Was paying Michael Porter Jr. a mistake? Let's get into this.
Dosage. Oh yeah, I work with the medics. I'm about to get you injected. I got a couple connections so I can get you prosthetic.
Quickly before we get the video started, if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more NBA content just like this one, hit that subscribe button and that post notification bell. Anyways, back to the video. Michael Porter Jr. was drafted with the number 14 overall selection in the 2018 NBA draft. And going into that draft, the consensus about him was he was a number 1 overall pick type talent, but the only reason why he fell all the way down to the 14th overall selection was due to injuries. And it wasn't just any old injury. MPJ was dealing with some back issues, which for somebody who was just coming into the NBA and was already dealing with some back issues, that was pretty significant and a huge reason why MPJ fell all the way down to the 14th overall pick. As a player, when you're going into the draft injured already, a lot of teams like to stay away from that traditionally, but specifically when you go through an injury like a back issue very early on in your young career, it's obviously a very big red flag to a lot of NBA teams, and you'll probably fall a little bit lower than you would have if you were dealing with a knee injury or maybe a different injury. But once actually making it to the NBA, the fact that MPJ went to the Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, was probably the best possible situation for him. The Nuggets did a fantastic job in not putting any pressure on MPJ and giving him all the time that he needs to not only recover from his injuries, but also feel very comfortable on his injuries to actually play again. And in MPJ's rookie season, he didn't even play a single game. The Nuggets did a fantastic job at just completely shutting him down pretty early on in the season to just give him as much time as he possibly needed. And although MPJ wasn't necessarily playing on the court for the Nuggets, he got a great experience to see what the NBA was like from the bench, learn from all the different players on the Nuggets, specifically Jokic and a guy like Jamal Murray, some of the other guys on the team as well. Of course, he did practice from time to time with the team, and overall MPJ just got a lot more experience without even playing a single NBA game, which would just give him an advantage once he actually got into the NBA and started playing. And in MPJ's technical rookie season, he did okay. He averaged 9.3 points per game on a really good 50% shooting from the field, also adding 4.7 rebounds per game and 0.8 assists on only 16 minutes as well. And in his second season, the Nuggets once again did a fantastic job at not rushing MPJ back. Although they just gave him a full season off his previous year, the Nuggets felt that they should ease him into the NBA a little bit and not just completely rush him back. In his technical rookie season, MPJ basically didn't play that many back-to-backs or too many whatsoever. He also didn't play that many minutes whatsoever, as I mentioned, only playing 16 minutes per game, and overall he just got a great experience of what the NBA was like and actually playing some games and hopefully gaining some confidence from him going forward. And overall in his technical rookie season, MPJ certainly did show some flashes of greatness. Offensively, he showed why he was a potential number 1 overall pick type talent, and although he didn't necessarily have a great rookie season, he definitely did show some things, and overall there was a lot of excitement for MPJ going forward. And in MPJ's second season, in the 2020 NBA season, he completely exploded. With an increase in minutes, increasing his minutes all the way up to 31 minutes per game, he saw an increase in basically all his numbers across the board. He averaged 19 points per game on a really good 54% shooting from the field, also adding 7.3 rebounds to his game and adding 1.1 assists. And in the 2020 NBA season, MPJ truly looked like that number 1 overall pick type talent that he was projected as going into the NBA. Offensively, MPJ just looks so talented. In terms of his three-point shooting ability, he was always known as a really good three-point shooter, but especially in that 2020 season, he was elite. Of course, he was a very good catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, and also for that 6'10 size, he had a fantastic handle within his game, which allowed him to have a very nice crossover into a three-point jump shot, as well as great side steps and step backs. But talking about his mid-range shooting ability, it was also very good. He had a really good pull-up mid-range jump shot specifically. Also, of course, could catch and shoot from that mid-range area, had the ability to sidestep and step back as well, of course. Another thing that MPJ had within his mid-range shooting was that post turnaround fadeaway, which I mentioned in a lot of my videos is something that a superstar player basically needs within his game. It's a really important part. But specifically when you look at a guy like MPJ and the build that he has at that 6'10 size with that very long wingspan that he has, that post turnaround fadeaway is basically unstoppable for a guy like that. So he definitely used it very effectively. But now talking about his ability to drive all the way to the basket, he was also pretty elite at that. Of course, he's super athletic and has the ability to dunk over players whenever he wants. We've seen some crazy highlights of that over the years. But besides just dunking over players once driving all the way to the basket, MPJ also had a very nice ability to finish around them with crafty layups. He more so used his right hand than his left hand, of course, but definitely had the ability to finish with either hand from time to time, and overall did a great job at using his athleticism to outlast the defender in the air and just finish around them with crafty layups. Overall, offensively, MPJ just looked like such a talented and skilled player in his second season, so just imagine how good he could be going forward. So the hype was certainly there for MPJ. And due to MPJ's complete breakout season that year and also his great play in the playoffs, the Nuggets decided to reward him with a humongous $172.6 million contract over 5 seasons. And moving on to this season, MPJ was basically riddled with some injuries early on in the season, and in only 9 games played, MPJ was averaging 10 points per game on an abysmal 35% shooting from the field, 6.6 rebounds, and also adding 2 assists to his game. And maybe you could say that's a little bit concerning why he's having such a down season after getting a humongous contract, but obviously first of all it was only 9 games, and also the biggest reason why he was playing so poorly was he was dealing with injuries. And just recently the Nuggets announced that MPJ was going to undergo season-ending surgery on his back. But now the real question is, did the Nuggets make the right decision in giving MPJ a full max contract that early on? So of course, just solely looking at MPJ's game once he's on the court, I think it's pretty hard to argue with the contract that he got. On the court, I think it's pretty clear, although it only has been 1 full season that he's been this good and also in the playoffs, I think it's pretty clear that he deserves this kind of contract based on his play on the court. He's just so special offensively. But the big issue is of course his injuries. As I mentioned before in the video, when you're dealing with a back issue, especially this early on in your career, of course it's a pretty major issue and something that tends to come back over and over again. And the determining factor, in my opinion, whether this contract will be worth it or not, of course is pretty obvious, but is whether MPJ is able to stay on the court or not. If MPJ keeps dealing with these major injuries and has to be out for an entire season, multiple seasons, and overall just can't get over this back issue, I think of course it's an overpay, and obviously the contract would have been a bad move to give to him. But if MPJ could stay on the court after this one last surgery that he gets, maybe he can be healthy for the most part going forward and doesn't have to deal with so many back issues or just issues in general with injuries. If MPJ could stay on the court for the most part going forward and he continues to play like he has been offensively and just continues to improve his game season after season, I think without a doubt the contract would certainly be worth it. So of course a guy like MPJ who's dealing with these types of injuries but is also super talented once he's on the court, the determining factor is always going to be the injuries, if he stays on the court or if he doesn't stay on the court. But we'll see what happens for MPJ. Hopefully going forward, for his sake and the Nuggets' sake, he's able to stay on the court for the most part after this season. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think the contract that the Nuggets gave MPJ will be worth it in the end, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe and hit that post notification bell. It really helps me out a lot. Until the next time, peace out guys.
Dosage. Oh yeah, I work with the medics. I'm about to get you injected. I got a couple connections so I can get you prosthetics. Hope you can't go around.